So we started talking about, is there any Latino brands? Because we were talking about buying some clothes for some event that was coming up. Is there any Latino brands out there? So we realized that there was a lack of representation when it came to fashion. So that was like another light bulb turned on. Like, oh shit, this is what we can do.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Chicago Real. We have a real treat. We have a local fashion designer. Please welcome Manny Cabrera.
Hey, thanks, Rick. Thanks for
Hey
having me.
man, dude, I gotta tell you, I know that you and I went back and forth. We're at your new location,
Yeah.
right? And your new studio. It's amazing, dude.
Thank you
It's
so much.
amazing what you've done. You're a young guy, and you're doing an amazing things in the fashion industry.
I appreciate it.
So, just to start out real quick, Manny. First of all, I just want to thank you, dude. Your story is, I was inspired. I've even told, people that I mentor about you. I know we only met once at one of your fashion shows,
Yeah,
right?
at the Bulls pop-up. It's
Yeah.
funny because somebody at the event, somebody goes, hey, is this a guy with a suit? He's asking questions out there. You know who he is? And I look out. I see, like, I never seen that guy before. Yeah, he's asking a lot of questions. He's asking about you, and he's asking if he could talk to you. I saw you were wearing a suit. You're the only guy with a suit there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's kind of, what the hell's going on? But,
I had a blazer, yeah.
A blazer, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing because someone approached me and they said, "Are you the landlord?"
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and but dude, thanks, man, for being here. The name of your clothing design is Gente Fina, which translates to what in English?
It translates to fine people.
Fine people.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty cool name, dude.
Thank
be
you,
honest
thank
with
you.
man.
It was a moment, maybe about a year ago, where I almost just changed the name because I felt like people were having a hard time pronouncing it, and I was just like, I have to, and I had to explain myself every time what it means. But then I was like, that's kind of like, the name, it felt right from the beginning. So there was just a quick moment where I was like, maybe I should change it, and I almost just started looking into other names. But every time I tried anything else, it just didn't feel the same as like what Gente
Yeah,
Fina,
right.
is.
You know what I was impressed, and we'll get to how you started because that's even, you know, even it's an amazing thing, dude. Because I always say that success always leaves clues, you know, and so, but it's amazing when I went to your pop up, and you had like the Bulls reps there, and you were doing a collab with the Bulls, right? The
Yeah.
Chicago Bulls, and you designed those jackets. They were
Yeah.
pretty cool, dude.
Thank you, thank you.
And I said, oh my God, and I look at the price tag. All right, that's why they call it for fine people, because the price,
Yeah.
And anyway, and I was just impressed, dude, by the vibe, the clothes, and the people that were there. I said, I have to have this guy, So we had a quick conversation, and I'm here at your second warehouse, right? Your studio here,
Yeah.
and it's an amazing job, dude. Like I would live here. And the studio is pretty cool how you have it. You have everything here, where you produce, you get inspired, and you make the clothing.
Yeah.
And pretty soon you're gonna start having a women's line too, right?
That's the goal, to learn more about women's clothing. Women is it got real tough for women because you start learning about the sizing, difference. You have curves, you have the thighs,
Yeah.
the waist. So women, it's a lot of sizing options out there. So just a matter of figuring out what how that works with patterns wise.
But your clothing too it's kind of like urban driven, right? But also, like, I'm not a very urban guy,
Yeah.
style, but I would wear some of that stuff. It's pretty cool, like your jackets and the shirts you produce,
Yeah.
you make. And so take me back a little bit, dude. Like how, because you were in a totally different industry.
Oh,
And it's like, it's crazy, dude. Like that's why, we were chatting before where the producer was setting up, and I was like, dude, how you were doing,
Yeah.
So you were in the trucking before, right?
Yeah, so I come from a long line of truckers. My family's always been from my grandpa, all my uncles, my father. He was a truck driver. So I thought I'm gonna be a truck driver. I thought that was like my goal. So I quickly realized how tough that life can be as a truck driver, and you have to have a passion for it too because it is a very dangerous job.
Yeah.
And so if you don't like it, you're falling asleep on the wheel. You're in a bad mood. That traffic can get to you. So it's a job that I believe is a job that you have to really like because it is a very dangerous job.
Yeah.
But all I've ever known was logistics. So I tried to kind of figure out how can I, still make money in this industry without, truck driving myself. So I thought about doing my own logistics company, repair shop, and all those things. So I was in New Orleans at the time. This is when I was 25. I'm 35 now, but I was in New Orleans. I was living down there for a bit. I had given up everything. I said, man, forget this business stuff. Every time I try to start a business, I end up in a worse spot than before. I had no business
How many
knowledge.
times have you failed at business?
I failed two businesses in
For-
my early 20s, yeah.
Okay.
And several like little endeavors, well, with like film, photography, stuff that I would do, that I wanted to make, a company out of, and it just wouldn't work. So about 3 to 4 companies,
Really?
yeah. And this is all in my early 20s, I
Yeah,
had
and let me interject real quick. And what type of business? So it was like a photography business?
power wash.
Okay.
Uh, I was doing power washing, photography, film. There was a event company as well, and I thought I was partying a lot at that time, so
Sure.
why not make some
Make
money
some
out of
money, right?
this? Um, it was just little things that I got curious about, and I would dig into it, and I would start great. The funny thing is, like, I would make money, but the problem was the money management.
Mm.
How do I deal with employees? Um, how to handle customers? So all those things that a business requires, I had no knowledge of. So it was a lot harder than I expected, obviously, and it got to a point where I was like, you know what? And I didn't go to school. I didn't go to college for business, so I had no idea what I was doing. I always had good ideas, and I was able to put in that work for it to get it started from the ground. But then when money started coming in, I just didn't know how to be responsible with it, how to handle it. So I I threw all my money away. I was
Yeah.
partying a lot, trips to Mexico for months, Vegas, like so.
Where
I,
do you sign up for that, dude? I'll go to Mexico
yeah,
and Vegas
yeah,
for
yeah.
that.
No, yeah, man.
Blow the business account. Let's
I
go.
would go to Mexico for months. I wouldn't even tell my customers. I would just disappear. I would
Oh
have,
my God.
I got customers that I could do every weekend for the
Yeah.
power washing, and I was making good money.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back months later. All right, I'm ready to go back to work. Like, no, we found somebody else. Like,
Yeah.
we moved on. Where the hell have you been? So I these are all little things that I was like, you know
It's
what?
crazy, man.
I'm not doing this
Yeah.
right. So
Hey,
forget
so
it.
to our audience, if you want a power washer, do not call Manny,
Do
okay?
not call me. You can call me now, and then
You can call him
yeah,
for
now you
some Gente
can.
Fina, like some
Yeah, yeah.
designs and stuff, but
No,
no
and we
power
actually
wash.
we got the truck wash that we're building now. So
Yeah.
obviously I'm in a way different space now
Yeah.
than I was back then. But at that time, I was in New Orleans. I had given up on business. I wanted to just be a hippie.
Yeah.
So I was traveling the country in my car. I lived in my car for almost a year, and
You
I
lived in your
was
car for a year?
yeah. I went to Pennsylvania. I was up in the mountains, in the Appalachian Mountains for a bit. I was in New York. I was in D.C., Louisville, Nashville. I was just traveling around trying to find, things that I was interested in. I did a lot of volunteer work, and they would pay me with food or a place to stay for the night.
Hmm.
So I would just run around doing that, working at a lot of animal shelters. And so I'm in New Orleans now. I fell in love with New Orleans. I said, you know what? This is my home. I'm gonna stay here. I love this city. So I said I'm gonna stay here, and I volunteered after Katrina. It was still pretty messed up a couple years after, and then one night I called my dad, and he was in Gary, Indiana, buying equipment for his trucks. And I was like, "What are you doing in Gary, Indiana? Why don't you just go somewhere around here? Like, why are you going so far away? Somewhere in Chicago or something?" He's like, "Nobody sells this stuff here." Like, the closest spot at that time was there's more guys now, but at that time it was only the spot to go to was the closest spot was Gary, Indiana.
And like
So
from where we're at, so our audience that don't know, it's about an hour and a half
yeah, about an
drive.
hour and a
So
half.
yeah.
So and you had to make sure whenever you took that trip, you had to make sure you had your list ready. What do you need? So it was a mission, and if you missed something, you would have to go back the next day. So I didn't know that there wasn't anything like that around here. So that's when like the kind of just a light bulb turned on and the wheels started turning. And for some reason that night I couldn't sleep. I just kept thinking about, man, I can't believe nobody sells equipment for truck drivers. In Melrose Park, Chicago, like there's so many truck drivers here. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So a light bulb turned on. I remember that day that night very clear. And I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sell equipment to truck drivers. I know the industry. I know what truck drivers need. I have people that will buy from me, so I already have that customer base that I can just call, you know. And the next day, I drove up. I left New Orleans, and I came straight up, and I told my dad we're gonna open up a store.
So you wind up opening a trucking supply store?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, so then you started working in that business, right?
yeah.
And so, talk to me about like the tarp thing because that was like the pre-designing business,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So take me there, when because you were selling tarps, right? That's the covers that.
Yes, I was just buying and selling equipment, tarps. I didn't know how to sew. I wasn't planning on learning how to sew. So a lot of customers started asking me, "Do you make custom tarps?" And I'm like, "No, I have no idea how. No, I don't." But when enough customers started asking you, you have to kind of decide, okay, that's money walking out the door. I have to figure out how to make tarps because these guys, I'm getting asked a lot about this. So I started making tarps. I bought a sewing machine. I bought a little house machine. But if you know anything about tarps, the vinyl is super heavy. Each tarp is like 120 pounds. So this is real heavy
So you
material.
had to get like a
And
thick needle and
yeah, yeah. So I had a house sewing machine, and it wasn't working. I just needles kept breaking. So I said, man, that was some of the
a
most
house sewing
stressful.
machine, a grandma sewing machine
Yeah,
is
yeah. I
what
had
you had.
a little house machine. So that was some of the most stressful days of my life was learning how to sew.
And you taught yourself that?
Yeah, Google. I said the
YouTube
university.
University,
Yeah,
yeah?
yeah, YouTube University and the University of Google. Those were my best friends. So that's how I learned how to sew. I was like, wait a minute, I need an industrial machine. That's a
Yeah.
7 foot long
It's
machine. Like,
amazing, dude, because like I come from the '80s, like doing the encyclopedia era. You want to learn about something, you look at it and say, and now it's just a couple clicks and
yeah,
boom,
yeah.
learn.
You can literally look up how to set up this specific audio system that I have that I bought. There's a whole video on how to install. It's crazy. I mean, thank God for those people that put those
Yeah,
videos, man.
yeah.
I'm like, sometimes, like, man, I wish I can sit there and make a video on how to, how to show somebody how to use this machine. Because I get asked all the time, how do you use so? How do you learn? So, but it's like, I don't have the time. So God bless those people that
Yeah.
post those videos.
Yeah, everyone has a part and a purpose.
Yeah.
And so, like you taught yourself how to sew, and now you're sewing these big tarps for
Yeah.
trucks.
Yeah, the tarps are average between like 20 feet by like 30 feet long. So they're really big tarps, very heavy. Um,
Was
so
your dad and the people you were working with were they like thought you were wasting your time?
no, I think my parents were just happy that I was back home, not in my
Yeah,
car anymore,
yeah,
and that I was kind of doing something that wasn't. Because to them, when I was, I'm gonna do film now. Like, oh, here we go. I'm gonna do photo now. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna make music now. So this was more of like whenever like, okay, this sounds like a legit business. And my dad knew that this was something that was needed.
sure.
So he's like, okay, this sounds like
So
this
you,
could
you
work.
weren't getting support, their support when you were like, going after you. It seemed like you were just trying to find yourself.
Yeah.
When you were out there and
Yeah, looking back now, that's what it feels like now. Because I don't know why those things. I was just if something that I found interesting. I would just go and do it.
Yeah.
If I had to live in my car, that's what
And
I did.
that's respectable, man. Like that, I thought that's a part of your life. You were sharing that with me earlier, that you were just trying to figure it out, and just trying to. But it was always in the art form, whether it be photography,
Yeah.
except for the power washing thing and the music. I know you're big in music, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But you got into that business too,
Yeah.
so you started making the tarps, and you got good at it, right?
Yeah, semi good. We got decent enough to make
Yeah.
a full tarp. So then people started asking me, "Can you make these lighter?" And these are so heavy. And the older truck drivers like, "Ah, man, I'm 50 something. I can't be carrying 120 pounds up and down these trailers." So we started experimenting with different fabrics. So that's when I started getting my curiosity on just materials. So because it still has to be
Waterproof?
waterproof. It has to be 100% waterproof. It has to be strong enough to be, to last. Because
Yeah.
but here in Chicago, you're dealing with winters, rain, all the elements, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it has to outlast, all those. So and you're covering steel and it's super sharp.
Yeah.
So, you know, experimenting with different fabrics. We got them down from 120 pounds to 70 pounds.
Wow.
That was the lightest we can go without having
That's
it being too thin.
yeah.
So
And so did you combine two fabrics together?
yes,
Is that what you did?
yeah. So what we did was well, I could say it now. Before I used to keep my secret, but it was heavyweight in the middle
Yeah.
and lightweight on the sides.
Ah.
So the drops that go off to the sides of the trailer, those are the light, because that's not really in contact with the steel or with anything. So
Yeah.
the middle part is heavy duty.
Yeah. So for you truckers, contact me if you want to get one of those tarps, okay?
Yeah, yes.
I'll be the middleman.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So dude, that's pretty cool, you know, because like you figured it out. You took a product, right, that everyone had, and you even made it better, you know.
Yeah.
And you capitalized on that,
Yeah.
you know. And I think that business is really 99.9 about business is solving problems,
Yeah.
you know. And you'll become super successful, make a lot of money if you focus on solving problems, and you solved a huge problem because
Yeah.
no one was making these type of tarps, correct?
No, I mean it was out there like that it could be done, but trucking industry has been the same for so long. So when I came into this industry and I started meeting my competitors, you know, at like the expos and stuff like that, these were guys that had it for generations, the companies, you know, or multiple owners, you know, guys from the South, down in Kentucky, Alabama.
Yeah.
So I wasn't getting any help from these guys because they're like, "What the fuck do you know about trucking? You're 20 some years old, you know." So it was tough to kind of get my foot in there.
Yeah.
But one thing I realized is that these guys they're not focused on innovation at all.
Right.
Trucking equipment has been the same for decades.
They're just offering what has been passed along to
Yeah,
them,
and they're
right?
making a killing. There was no competition.
Yeah.
Now there's a ton of guys all over the place in the Midwest. But before, there was like 3 or 4 major players all over the country.
Yeah. And when you say it was tough, like in what way it was tough?
It was tough when it came to gathering like fabric in bulk.
Okay.
Or material for like the straps, because these guys had the manufacturers on a chokehold. They're making so much money already. They threatened the manufacturers, and the manufacturers told me straight up, "Don't give this guy any business. If you give him any business, we're gonna, you know,
Move.
we're not gonna,
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna go
You're
find
gonna pull.
somewhere else." So they would tell me straight up, "Sorry, we can't work with you." The guys in Ohio, they said it's too close to them. They don't want, and so they don't want. Like, they consider it just competition.
Sure,
you know?
sure.
So I understood that. So luckily, a guy in it's crazy how the universe works, man. So this guy, I forgot how I found him. I found this maybe at the expo or something, but he gave me a shot. He was selling me the stuff very expensive to me, but it helped me get my foot in the door, learn where the material was coming from, and I was able to get in contact directly with the manufacturers.
You ever feel that you were spinning your wheels when you were creating these tarps? And I know we're focusing on the tarps because that's crucial to how you
it's very
started this
crucial.
thing.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And so, you know, people are like, okay, dude, I get it. You were selling tarps, you know, but it's not just any tarps.
It's not
you know?
sexy. It's not
Yeah,
sexy.
and so like I own a commercial roofing company. That's even
Yeah.
less sexy.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And so, it's just amazing, dude, because like, and I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I mentor other entrepreneurs. And I kind of tell them the same thing. You got to figure it out. If this doesn't work, you have to tweak. That didn't work. You know, our producer, he does comedy, you know, and he's following his comedy thing. He's very in the arts, and he creates jokes. If that joke, you know, we were talking on the way here, and he's like, yeah, I got just, you know, at some place, for early next year, they gave him a weekly thing, and it's like, so he's going to try different jokes and different this, and kind of like it's the same thing. It's just business, you know. He's in the business of comedy, you're in the business of tarps, and that, you know, is the stepping stone for this freaking place you got here. You know? It's amazing. And so, you ever feel during that time that you were just spinning your wheels? Maybe this ain't for me when it got tough.
Oh, of course.
Essentially quitting, like, damn, I should just go back to power washing.
Absolutely. I mean, the first 3 years was brutal. I wasn't making any, and the people that I thought were gonna be my customers, I know a lot of truck drivers. They weren't buying from me. They were still going to Gary, Indiana. So what I learned was truck drivers are very stubborn. At least the older generation, because they've been doing since the same thing. Like
They're
I said,
stuck in their ways.
They were stuck in their ways. If I tell them, hey, this tarp is lightweight, that shit ain't gonna work. I'm sorry. Can I swear here? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They were very stuck in their ways, and they were, I guess, just worried or nervous about trying something new. Um, that it took a very long time. It took me, uh, man, it took me about 6, 7 years to finally start, you know,
Getting their business.
start getting their business and to start seeing some money coming in.
Yeah.
That I can actually just, okay, now I can get my own place. I can do this, do that, you know. So
Right.
it took a while
Yeah.
to get there. And like I said, my other businesses failed, so I had to learn how to manage money. How do I okay, now I got employees. We're making tarps now. How do I make sure production is, stays at a good level? So I again, I didn't go to school for this. So at the same time, I was learning, you know, how to do it. And all I knew was that I messed up a lot.
Yeah.
I said, okay, something is going wrong. I have good ideas, and I can put in the work, but it's not working for a reason. So I really sat down and really started thinking, okay, what am I doing wrong? Obviously, the money management. Okay,
Yeah.
how can I learn to be
Yeah.
better with money?
Yeah.
You know, so you start tweaking those little things here and there, taking the business very serious, very disciplined, and it's gonna take off. You know,
Dude, a key word, dude, is consistency and discipline.
yeah,
And the missing piece you were having is because you had the hustle, you had the vision, you had the drive, right, to get out there and sell your product.
Yeah.
And the thing is that most people fail at is the discipline, money management. You know, knowing every dollar, every penny that goes through account, taxes, right, and
Yeah.
paying employees. But you kept tweaking your product, you know, and while the rest of the industry stayed back.
yeah. I mean, they were used to the same thing over and over again,
Yeah.
and we were doing that as well. That was bringing in the money so that we could innovate and
Sure.
change things up, and that's what we did. And it's 10 years now with
Wow,
that.
that's amazing, dude. And how Gente Fina, how did that come about?
So Gente Fina came about, that was in 2018. So fast forward, I started the company. I learned how to sew. I learned that I love sewing. Like I can sit in the warehouse all day sewing. Like, I can make tarps all day long if that was like, if all else fails, I can sit in this warehouse all day long.
And just so
Just sew, yeah. So I found it very relaxing.
it's therapeutic. You mentioned
Very
right?
therapeutic, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the word I was trying to find earlier. It's very therapeutic for me. So just my love for sewing, and so then I wanted it to the point where I wanted to sew at home. So like, okay, now I buy a small machine, and just sew at home while I'm watching TV or listening to podcasts. So then, okay, what else can I do with these machines? You know, I need to fix this sleeve. It's too big. So how can I? So I figured out how to do that. Little things like that with my own personal clothing. And people are like, oh, can you fix my stuff? Can you fix this? Can you fix that?
From the industrial sewing machine, you were doing this.
No, from a smaller one.
Okay.
I
The
had
first
a
one you
smaller,
bought.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the smaller machines already, so I brought those home because I wanted to keep sewing. I sew at home too, but obviously I can't make tarps at home. These are big,
Yeah.
big tarps. So it was just a curiosity of sewing machines and fabrics.
That's pretty cool, dude. That you taught yourself how to sew these heavy fabrics for trucking covers. That covers the bed, right, for gravel and all that stuff.
Yeah,
right? Is that what we're
gravel,
talking-
a lumber, steel.
Yeah, and so you found that you love sewing,
Yeah.
and you couldn't even get enough at work. You had to bring it at home.
Yeah, I had to
and-
bring it home. Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
And so you started fiddling around with your clothes, fixing other people's stuff, and
Yeah, just fixing other people's stuff, and then like, man, I wonder if I can make a hoodie. I wonder if I can make a T-shirt from scratch. So that became, then I became obsessed with that, making my own clothing, and it just started going like that, right? So then in 2018, I'm living with a buddy of mine, and he's also an entrepreneur, and we're also kind of going back and forth, like, what can we do together, as homies, and how we can make money together. So we started figuring out ways how we can be creative. He's also creative as well. He was into graphic design. So when 2018 comes around, we kind of to figure out, okay, what are your skills? What are my skills? What am I good at? And how can we bring these skills and do something with this? And I remember one day we were talking about clothing. We were talking about some local brand that we liked, but we didn't feel connected to the brand. We didn't feel like the brand was like for us. We love the brand, we love what they stand for, and we love what they were doing, but we didn't feel like it was for us. So we started talking about, is there any Latino brands that because we were talking about buying some clothes for some event that was coming up. Is there any Latino brands out there? So we realized that there was a lack of representation when it came to fashion. So that was like another light bulb turned on. Like, oh shit, this is what we can do. Like, he's a graphic designer. I got my skills in sewing, my skills in business as well. So why don't we bring those things together and start a fashion line? So that's when the first idea of Gente Fina came about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you started making it out of these
The
tarp
apartment.
material?
So I started messing. I had a lot of fabrics in the warehouse. I still do to this day, rolls and rolls of fabrics. I always had for some reason I still do have this. You see a bunch of bags everywhere, but this like guilt of throwing away even
Good
just
material, right?
scraps. Yeah, I thought I couldn't do it, so I would just hoard fabrics, nylons, webbings, metal rings, buckles. So all these things that we were like, because we repair tarps as well. So whenever we take off an old piece of a tarp, it looks like a useless scrap material, but I couldn't throw it away, so I would just roll it up and put it away. And then, so when this came about, I said, well, I have a ton of fabric at the warehouse, and it's waterproof. And then you start to realize that a lot of workwear is made with a lot of these fabrics, the canvas,
The Carhartts and all.
Carhartt.
Yeah.
They use a lot of duck canvas, nylons, some like
Sure.
heavy duty cotton. So I had all this stuff in the warehouse already. So that's how we started kind of implementing our own designs into these fabrics, making our own pieces, and that's kind of what became our thing. We call it Chicago Works Harder whenever we do things with these fabrics. But so then we started doing that.
And what inspired you, dude? Like to like, okay, let's just do this. Like what's the thing that it just inspired you to make clothing out of it? Was it the fact that that you don't want to throw the fabric out and say, I'll make a shirt out of this, or I'll make a jacket out of it, or what inspired you? Because like that's another art form. It's like a whole different spectrum.
You know what? I think it's a combination of when people ask me this question, I sometimes have a hard time. But looking back now, it's a combination of all those things. Of every single step that I've taken in life has brought me to where, because Gente Fina is not just clothing, it's photography. It's marketing. It's a lot of stuff. All the stuff that I picked up back in my filming days,
Sure.
photography, writing music. Just being creative with words when you write even a caption. Little things like that that come into play, or that came all together for this brand. For this company, it all just came together into this, and that's why I feel like it's been so successful, because it's just natural to what like everything
Yeah.
that we've done in life.
Yeah. So that's cool, dude. That's cool because it's like you're picking up the tools as
Yeah.
little things you're gonna use in your future, which you had no clue
Exactly, at the time, yeah, I
At the
know.
time, and
Yeah.
and I see that. I see that in your clothing. I see it in your studio here, in your design studio, the art, the layout of everything. And so that's pretty cool, dude. Because it's what you just said. It's like visible.
Yeah.
It's visible
Thank
in in everything I see here. And so how did it come out, dude? Like where you started like really selling like to the not I wouldn't say to the masses because
Yeah.
you not boutiques are knocking at your door. You're
Yeah.
doing collabs with sports teams and all that. How does that like you know how were you able to like put that together?
So we didn't start making money until 2020.
Yeah.
When the pandemic hit. And remember, like, I have my company. He has his career, on my partner at the time. So we're not putting 100% into Gente Fina. We're putting in a couple hours a night. So we weren't putting all the time into it. It was more of like just a creative outlet and passion for us. So then 2020 comes around, pandemic hits. We're forced to my business slowed up a lot. So we had a lot more time on our hands. And so we had a lot more meetings together. Okay, what could we come up with next? So, and then people started buying. People started buying online a lot at that time. People were at home.
Yeah.
So we saw orders coming in. We're like, oh, shoot. So, and I think at that time as well, a lot of people started caring about where their money was going.
Yeah.
Um,
And what was your first item you were selling? Was it jackets or
It was the bomber jacket.
it was a bomber?
That was our what really kind of
That's your flagship
yeah.
product.
Yeah, we do varsity jackets now, but I'm hoping to get back into bomber jackets. But it was a bomber jacket. We did a military green one. It says Chicago in to Chicago ends. And at that time, we couldn't give them away. I mean, nobody wanted to buy them. We were selling them for like $25.
$25.
I know, and I had them up like at like 75 to $100, and people weren't buying it. So we ended up dropping the price, $25, and we're having all this. We have all these jackets in stock. So I said, you know what? And this is crazy. I told my business partner at the time, we need to move these jackets. We have all this stuff is in our apartment. We have nowhere to walk. Like, we need to just.
How many jackets you had already in stock?
I think at that time we went crazy, man, and t-shirts too. We made like 200-300 of each item. We thought we were gonna sell out, as soon as we launched it. So the sales weren't coming in. So we have all this stuff in stock. So I said, you know what? Let's start giving this out to certain people. So we started doing a lot of pop-ups, and what we do is give it to I like to eat and I like to go to restaurants. So I started giving it out to chefs and to bartenders. I like to drink too. So I said bartenders and chefs are like,
You like to drink tequila or mezcal?
man, that's a tough one. Mezcal. For
Yeah,
sure.
I'm a mezcal
Cocktails,
guy.
mezcal, to sip on, tequila.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
That's cool. Dude, your story, did you read Damon John's story? Fubu? The Fubu guy?
Yes. I didn't read his book, but I know his story pretty
Dude,
well.
it's similar to yours because he couldn't give his crap away. And then
Yeah.
he started, like, passing it around in
Yeah.
the T-shirts out of the trunk of his car.
Yeah.
And it's a similar story that you mentioned that it kind of reminded me of Damon John because is for us by us, right? It's what the
Yeah,
FUBU thing
same
stands
stuff.
for. And you said that you noticed that they weren't clothing. You mentioned that you were looking at other manufacturers and stuff,
Yeah.
but it wasn't something that was specific for the Latin community. The
Yeah.
urban Latin kind of community. That's a little similar, right, to the black community or the Damon John brand
Yeah.
a little bit, but not. I know what you're talking about. There's a difference,
Yeah.
And so again, dude, like you were trying to solve a problem, with the tarps and now in the fashion,
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool, dude, because as you're sharing your story, I'm thinking about because I read his book,
Yeah.
how he started and all that. And I think his book is, and that's a good book. I would recommend. It's The Power of Broke. That's I think the second book he wrote.
check it out, yeah.
And how he just figured things out, And it's pretty cool because like even though you didn't mention that book, it's like your story is very similar to his. What the motivation, the stuff you learned from the past,
Yeah.
and you're just picking up all these ideas that you started implementing.
Yeah.
And I always say that the only thing that trumps knowledge is consistency.
Yeah.
Because you can't suck forever, dude.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You eventually become, right? Tony Robbins says that repetition is the mother of all mastery. And you just become better and better and better with the sewing machine. And now, hey, we're going to sell my jackets because I made it. Now you have to do some market research. You got to know what are people wearing. You have to be in, right? Now you know that you wouldn't dare to make your new, we were talking about your new clothing line you got coming out, which is pretty cool, dude.
Thank you.
And that now you know that market research, what's out there and now because you've learned from past mistakes.
Exactly.
So, real quick, dude, what did you do with these jackets? You were passing them out. There's like the 300.
So what happened was I ended up giving it to a lot of bartenders, just for free beer. Whenever I come back to this bar, he's gonna remember me that I gave him that jacket.
Yeah.
He's gonna give me a beer. It's just kind of like little things like that. But then the bartenders will put them on, so they're working with the jacket on. And, there's people behind them all the time at the bar. And when they turn around to get drinks, to do this. So they were pretty much parading the jackets around or advertising them to all these people at the bars. It's like, oh, where'd you get that jacket from? That's pretty cool. And that's how it kind of how the jackets took off. It was just us giving away these jackets for our personal gain of hopefully free food, free alcohol, free hookups, not knowing that it was like a marketing strategy.
Sure.
Because they're wearing the jackets at work, They were lightweight jackets.
And you weren't aware that you were just doing it to just give them so you could get some free
Yeah,
drinks once in a while.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and little that you know that they were just advertising your company.
yeah.
Yeah,
While they were at work, in front of hundreds of people every night. So that's really what the bartenders start hitting us up. Hey, this guy wants a jacket too. My coworker, or these guys or people message us. Hey, I saw your jacket at this bar. The bartender had the jacket on. I was wondering if I can get one too. So the jacket really took off, and uh, and that's what really like just got us some eyes on us were these jackets. So every year we try to do a different color, different fabric, switch it up a little bit.
yeah.
I never redo them. I've never redone a jacket. So whenever I drop a certain color or certain fabric, um, that's the one for the year.
Hmm.
And I'm not gonna say I will never do it, but I've always said like that. I don't want to.
Like repeat an
Yeah.
old style or an
Yeah.
old. Okay,
I want to keep it
got
kind
it.
of every year do something different.
Get something fresh.
And and that kind of created like like exclusivity.
Hmm.
Because I only make 100 every year.
Yeah,
I did 150 this year because they sold out quick as hell. But um, I only do 100,
yeah.
and so people know that now. So as soon as I'm ready to drop one, they want to get it right away because I'm not making any more after
Yeah.
that.
That's a business strategy. And prior to the interview, we were talking about the Ray-Ban story.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where, the Ray-Ban, the glasses, which I'm a big fan of. That's
Yeah.
all I buy. And they did pretty much what you did, right? Because you were able to buy those at any convenience store, gas stations for like
That's crazy to me. I didn't know
$8. $8 they were plastic.
wow.
And then when they took over, the new CEO or whoever purchased it, they stopped making them. And so people were just buying all these Ray-Ban glasses. And so then when they started making them again, they started passing them out to Michael Jackson, Madonna, and all these stars. They were like, oh my God, every one of them. And then they just jacked up the price. And I think the cheapest Ray-Ban glasses where you were able to pick up for like $7, they were cheap everywhere.
Yeah.
They're like minimum, it's like 200, 250
Yeah.
bucks. And I've paid up to like 350 for
pair.
the latest and the greatest one, but
Yeah.
it's the same thing, made out of
Yeah.
the same piece of metal, same plastic.
It is, and it
And
isn't.
but you're buying, right? The quality's good. I'm a
Exactly,
big
yeah.
fan, and that's all
Yeah.
I wear, and I have a bunch of pairs, but with your stuff, it's scarcity, dude. Like back in the pandemic, you could have paid a lot of money for toilet paper. Why? Because it's scarcity, it's psychological, it's business, right? But your stuff is pretty cool, dude. Like, like we were talking earlier, it's like, man, why only 100? Why only 200? And now you're getting hits from boutiques, down in Mexico. You want stuff in California. LA's calling you. So tell me about the collab you're doing with the Chicago Bulls, dude, because that's huge. That's where I met you when you were
Yeah.
had the pop up and in the early part of this year, and you have reps from the Bulls there. And
Yeah.
how did that come about?
So the Bull, they shot us an email about a year and a half ago. We were talking about collabs back and forth, and it's the Bulls, of course. I'm like, absolutely.
But how? How did they just?
I don't know. I don't know. Well, I did one jacket. The way I thought they heard about us was I made a jacket for Ayo Dosuna from the Bulls. He's a player from the Bulls. He's a really good.
So
MVP.
one of the Bulls players reach out to you and say, "Hey, dude, design me a jacket."
Yeah. So,
Okay.
another a tip for other brands out there. What I did was I had dropped a black varsity jacket at that time. I said, you know what? I'm gonna do a giveaway.
The varsity? You mean the Letterman jacket?
The
Or-
Letterman jacket.
Okay.
We were gonna drop 100 of those, black and white, just standard. But what I did was I said, let's do a giveaway, and all they have to do, the rule is tag your favorite Bull player. Your favorite player from
That's
the Bulls.
genius, dude. That's
So
freaking genius.
we got hundreds and hundreds of comments, people commenting, messaging the Bulls, Benny the Bull, and all these players. So it got some attention from the Bulls, from
the marketing person.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
So from the players, so he messaged us, hey, can you make me a custom jacket? I said, yeah, I got you. So we made him a jacket, and then fast forward, this is like a year before that. So
They just say for you exclusively $3,000 for that jacket.
you know what? I'm not even gonna get into the details of all
Talk
that,
to Rick
but-
De La Fuente. He'll give you a price.
yeah. No, yeah. So I make a jacket for him. He loved it. So then fast forward a couple months later, we get an email from the Bulls. I thought they saw the jacket on him, So when we go to meet with them, I said, oh yeah, you guys like the jacket that I made for IO. I was like, oh, we didn't even know you made a jacket for IO. We saw you because of the Instagram post that you did.
Genius, man.
Yeah,
I
so
love it.
that's what got their attention. So they go, we had you on our radar for a while now, and now this kind of makes sense now, the timing wise. So, and they were great, man. They gave me 100% creative control. They let me use whatever logo, whatever color I wanted. They said, we love what you do what you gotta do, and then come back with us with a mock-up.
Let me ask you this. So when you made that jacket, the custom jacket
Yeah.
for the Bulls player,
Yeah.
did it have any Bulls?
Yeah.
But that's a licensed product. How did you get over that? You just did it?
Um, I just did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I did was
Did you just only show like 50% of it or something like that?
no, I put their Bulls in the back, big, real big
Yeah.
in the back.
Their logo?
Yeah, I just took a chance. I was worried about them getting
Yeah.
pissed off. But what I did was I took a logo from another jacket, the patch.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't like I stole.
So you just reused their.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of what I like. Whenever I make, I like to
Reuse it.
implement
Yeah.
some sort of upcycling to the collection. So
So and all your brands is you implement some sort of recycled
something
product
in there
in
has to be
Recycle.
whether it's the buckles, whether it's the buttons, whether it's the fabric.
Something.
Something in there has to be something from my warehouse that I
Yeah,
find. and-
recycle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's always the goal for every collection that I do.
That's
So-
pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
That's cool.
And it's fabric that I have sitting there, like I said, and it's perfectly good fabric. So, I'm talking to the Bulls now. They let me they gave me full creative control, and I nailed it on the first shot. I showed them the jacket. They're like, "This is perfect." I put our logo super big on the sleeve. They're not gonna like that, and they're like, "I'm like, if you want, I can make our logo a little bit smaller." They're like, "No, leave it." So they were great, man. They
You put your logo on the sleeve?
yeah, super big. Like, it's bigger than their
Gente
logo.
Fina?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's super
Okay.
big. So I was worried about that. I thought they weren't gonna like that, but they're like, no, we love it. Leave it just the way it is. We'll take it. Give us 100 of those. So, and the great thing about them is, they let me. They did 100 for themselves. They bought 100 from me, and to sell on their app, to do a giveaway and to sell on their app. They sold out in 15 minutes. So, and then they let me do 100 for myself at the pop-up. So, and anything else left over, I could put it on my website, which is like unheard of. I never heard of like
Wow.
no
So
big.
they were pretty loose with that,
They
huh?
were super. I was so surprised because I thought we talked about how
Yeah.
I had talked to other bigger brands, other teams, and they're super strict, and I get it. They have
They have to
their
protect their
contracts,
brand. Yeah.
they have to protect the brand, so their guidelines and stuff, and I think it's because the Bulls and the White Sox too. I think I would like to work with the White Sox one day, but.
Why not the Cubs, bro?
Or the Cubs too. Yeah,
Oh, all right,
I like the
all right.
Cubs because a lot of people don't collab with the Cubs, so I would love to do something with the Cubs. Bears too for sure. So, what was I talking about? I was talking about the
Yeah. So the Bulls, they kind of gave you free range of
free
design
range.
in it.
Yeah, they were super loose about it. They say, "Do your thing. We love what you do." Oh yeah, like I was saying, I remember now. I think they understand the importance of just the creatives, or working with local brands, with local artists. I feel like the Bulls and the White Sox do a really good job at it, and other teams do as well, but not as good as them.
Same owner, right? Isn't it
Same
same
owner.
owner? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they do a very good job at reaching out to, because they work with the Bulls work with a lot of artists, and I've heard nothing but great things about working with them, and I can say that I've had an amazing experience
Yeah.
with the Bulls.
And I don't know if we could say this. If we can, we'll edit it out. But you're also working a deal with the Chicago Blackhawks, right? The hockey team, right?
We're in talks with
The
the
Hawks.
Blackhawks, and I'm actually in talks with the White Sox as well.
Okay.
For next year, September, I think we're thinking, and I've been designing for Chicago Fire, for about 6 months now. That one I'm taking it very serious. Not that I don't take the other one serious. I've been having a hard time with Chicago Fire only because it's so much to do. Like they're letting me do jerseys, they're letting me do.
So there's a lot more
warm-up.
details, is what you mean.
Yeah,
Not
yeah, and I
serious,
feel like-
but more details.
They have such a cool concept, Chicago Fire, and so much to work with, the flames and the history. So it's taking me some time to work to
Yeah.
come up with. But I'm working on some stuff for them as well. uh, and I recently got in contact with Lids.
With who?
Lids, the
Okay,
hat
the hand.
company.
Yeah, yeah.
So I will be designing some hats.
Exclusively for lids.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
that's cool. That's cool, man. And so, what's next on your radar? I know you're working with collabing with sports teams
yeah,
and all that. And I know you mentioned, a woman line, right? More feminine, I would
yeah.
say.
So our biggest demographic is women, and I never made it close for women. So it's crazy. Women, and they show so much support and so much love, and they're the ones that reach out and say, "We love what you're doing. Keep doing. We want to support you," and so our biggest, I think, is like 70% is women, our buyers.
Really?
So now they're like, what about us? When are you gonna make stuff for us? So like tie back to the tarps, people were asking me, do you make tarps? I said no. When enough people ask you, it's like I gotta figure this out. There's a lot of potential here, you know, for this. So I'm learning about women's sizing. I'm talking about it is a whole different monster that I have to figure out. I made some skirts that I think are really cool. The world's gonna see these skirts, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's a crazy concept. But I would like to learn how to make more women clothing,
Okay.
dresses, things like that. And then I have New York Fashion Week in February. So
Really? You going
yeah,
there? Okay.
I have a runway show there.
Really?
So I'm trying to make it my own. I'm having a hard time focusing on this, but because I'm doing so much collab, I say yes to everything. I'm learning how to, stop that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, because then you're just chasing. You're doing this and not
Yeah.
focus.
They say chasing like five rabbits at once. I guess
Right.
you're not
Yeah.
gonna. So right now, my main focus is New York Fashion Week. I have
Okay.
to come up with 18 pieces, collections full from head to toe. And New York Fashion Week,
Dude, that's exciting, man.
it's crazy, man. New York
Yeah.
Fashion Week is like
That's huge, dude.
it's insane, and it's crazy how that happened too. How I was able to get in there. I won a competition in Mexico for a fashion week down there, and
Really?
I had no idea I was competing. They told me the day before, hey, we need you here at this time. New York Fashion Week people are gonna be there. They want to talk to the designers one on one, talk about your collection, and hear your story, and because they're gonna pick the winner tomorrow. I said, the winner for what? Well, the winner gets to do a runway show in New York Fashion Week in February, and you get to go on Vogue, and you get to go on Bazaar, which is like the two magazines where every brand
Yeah.
strives for. And I was like, holy crap! And now all of a sudden, I felt real nervous. I was so relaxed,
Yeah.
ready for this fashion show. All of a sudden, I got started. I'm getting goosebumps right now, but I got so nervous, so crazy nervous. I'm like, okay, this is something way bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
So I ended up winning the contest, and now I get to go to New York Fashion Week in February. It's crazy.
That's amazing, bro. Congrats, bro.
Thank you.
Congrats, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Wow. So you also are involved with a lot of like non-for-profit. You help and give back to the community. So explain that. What is it you do with the business here you're running and but you also give your time. And that's pretty cool that you do that, man.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I like working with. We've done programs where we work with a lot of kids, where I teach them how to sew. I thought that's pretty cool because I remember when I was a kid, like I remember in middle school, there was a sewing class in our middle school, and I said, why would I take a sewing class? Like, I'm a kid, I'm a guy, that's girl stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a kid, I don't know. So I said, I'm never gonna need sewing ever in my life. And now it's my obsession now, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's cool to, so I do any program out there and I'm putting it out there that's interested in something like that, where I can come in and help out. Teach them little things, whether it's business, entrepreneurship, or sewing, little things like that I think are so much fun, and it's so cool to see them kind of pick it up, and something that I wish I had, when I was younger. So I like to do a lot of programs like that. I've done
But you primarily work in the Chicago schools, right? Doing
Yes.
that, or
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
like 9 months ago, I interviewed this one young guy, very nice kid, man. He has they call him the brow bro, and he does eyebrows. And people fly in, man, like from all over. He does like rappers and everything's on the hush hush. It's in back of this clothing store. They do like like resale.
Okay.
I wouldn't say a thrift. I forgot what they call that
Oh,
now.
like a vintage
Vi-
or
vi-
resale.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
vintage. Like bull stuff
Okay.
and all that, and all the sports teams. Vintage stuff. And in the back, he has his little thing, and dude, he makes a living out of that, and that's exactly what he does. He wants to start like a little thing where he helps, trains young people how to
Yeah.
do brows. And this is a guy, dude. Like you would never expect that. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I would look at him. I don't think he would.
Yeah, if you
I
saw
would
him
not.
walking around, you
I
think
said,
like
dude,
a brow expert.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he calls himself the brow bro, and he's well known.
That's
Everybody goes
crazy.
up for eyebrows on appointment too, dude. He's like, and it's cool. You're doing that, dude. So, where you want Gente Fina like to be? Like, what your brand? Where do you see it in the future? Do you see it like I'm not comparing it, but like a Fubu brand, or you want it like you want it in the Nordstrom stores, department store. You see that, or you see yourself like a boutique. You're already in a boutique business because you're supplying to some boutiques,
Yeah.
limited amount,
Yeah.
right? And for me as a businessman, I'm like, dude, make 2,000 of that product. And
I
you're like,
know.
no, I
Yeah.
want to, just they're only gonna get 100. These people get 100, and
Yeah.
that's it. It's over, right? And so, and I get it. Where do you see your brand going?
The way that it's going right now in the last year since I took over 100% of it, it's been going so fast and like in such a crazy pace where I don't really know where it's going. But one of my goals is to keep recycling, keep upcycling, um, and build a manufacturing hub here for Gente Fina, whether it's here or whether it's in Mexico, because I just don't have the time.
Right.
If I can't sit here and make 100 jackets, I just don't have that kind of
Sure.
time. And now I got my son; he's 9 months, so I'm learning how to be a dad now at the same time. So, finding build that manufacturing, whether it's creating it here or creating it where I'm from in Mexico.
Yeah.
So, that's the goal. A lot of more fashion shows. I fell in love with fashion shows now. I think it was such a cool, fun experience. So I see my stuff in Paris. That's the kind of places that I want the brand to be. Somewhere, a jacket that I make that inspired me from my childhood, with the crocodile boots. The ostrich skin shoulder for the on the suits. I want to see something like that in Paris.
Yeah.
In Paris Fashion Week. So in implementing those little details like that, New York Fashion Week, which is gonna happen now, it's one of the goals out there. So really being up there with the high end fashion. I want my name to be up there next to Dior. When you see
Yeah.
these events. So, but also trying to figure out how I can keep it affordable. Because at the end of the day, these are the people that buy from me. People that especially here in Chicago.
Right.
Chicago alone has been, before we even started branching out to like other cities, like starting to, we saw a lot to LA now, but I was doing it just fine with Chicago, because Chicago has shown so much love to the brand, and so many people have connected to the brand, so it became more than just clothing. It became, those messages that we get now, like, oh man, it's so great to see somebody, that's similar story to mine, to doing something so cool in this industry. Keep going, man. Oh, man, I can't wait to see you in Paris. I can't wait. So seeing those messages from people that kind of feel like, they're living through this brand, they feel connected, they want to see us win. You know, I want to be able to give back more to the community. That's one of another goal. Nonprofits, figure out how we can do that here as well. But there's a lot of things that I want to do with the brand. It has so much potential. But right now, my main focus is New York Fashion Week, and to be able to do this full time. I want to do this because I don't do this full time. I wish I did. I have my other company, like we talked about, that I still manage that full time. So this is like my I got my 9 to 5, and then this is my 5 to 9. So
Dude, and to build this on a part-time basis, right? And your goal is to eventually do this 100%
oh yeah,
full-time, right?
absolutely. This is
your
my passion. It's
right?
so much fun. It's such a fun industry too. I mean, making clothes. I mean, fashion shows.
Yeah.
We do art shows too. I love. I have a huge respect for artists and painters. So I wish I could paint. So the best next thing I can do is host my own art shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And so aligning myself with those kind of people, with other artists, has been a huge part of the growth of the
Yeah.
company.
Yeah, it's cool, dude. Cause I honestly, dude, like, I've become to respect and like the fashion. Like, I've been to like 3 fashion shows, 2 this year and 1 last year, and I've grown to like it. The vibe, you see like in the clothes. Some of them, like I just went to this one a couple months ago that I was like, I would not wear that.
Yeah.
But then you get the artist. This guy was from Costa Rica, I think.
Okay.
Two guys, and they brought like it looked like potato sacks to me.
Yeah.
But then they talk about the art and what inspired them
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all that, and like you look at it as it's different,
Yeah.
And same thing with the culinary stuff. They're
Yeah.
artists, dude, and I'm
Absolutely.
beginning to like really see what I didn't see before because I'm looking at it and their passion for it,
Yeah,
and
the
it create like
process.
it just creates a whole way of like looking at things to
Yeah.
prep a dish, and it looks pretty, but all the ingredients and the flavors and same thing with the art, the paintings and stuff. I that's one of the first things I notice and in here, and you have like local artists and you follow and you have it here, and dude, you're definitely, dude, like for sure, dude, a winner, dude. It's amazing your story, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so and to always giving back and teaching other people, and that's what I felt from you, dude. Like you're always with your hand out like that, like what can we do, right? And so, man, congratulations, dude. And we're definitely gonna have you on the show again, dude, after you return from
Yeah, come back in a couple months, see where we're
yeah.
at.
No, but not only that, dude, after the fashion week, in New
Yeah.
York, dude, and I'm excited for you for that, dude.
Thank
And
you.
if people wanted to like reach out, dude, and buy your product, well, how do they get a hold of you? Not of you, but like I know you're busy, and
Yeah,
I
don't
know,
call
and
me.
thank you, dude, for sharing your time and doing this. Really, because I know you're busy, and I've heard about you how busy you are, and the stuff you do, and you took the time to just share a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And so, if people want to get a hold of you or your products, what you're doing, how do they get a hold of you?
So it's funny you talk like you said like people reach out to us. You can reach out to us mainly through Instagram.
Okay.
Gente, it's called Gente Fina Shy, CHI.
Okay.
Um,
And we'll
and
put that up there too.
yeah, thank you, man. And that's me responding to everybody. And that's been another key to like I think to the success of the brand is people like, oh crap, is this Manny? Like, oh shoot, like that's so cool. Like, oh, thank you, whatever questions they have. And so to be able to do that as well, it is tough to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's very tough. But I do try to be. I have a social media person that helps me out.
Yeah.
Laura, she's great. She's been a huge key to
Yeah, that's
to the
important
brand.
because I don't manage my social media either
Yes.
because you can't. Number one is I'm not that good at it, and it's something that someone can handle.
Yes, of course. I mean, it does become the messages.
It's a job in
pile up.
itself. Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. So, but I do try to be the one that responds to a lot of because I feel like I have pretty good customer.
Yeah, you want to be personal and you
Yeah.
want to respond, right?
So, and I feel like it is very important because they tell you it's so cool that I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
When you see that, and they love that. So I like seeing that too. So you can reach out through Gente Fina Shy on Instagram. My Instagram is Midwest Manny.
Okay.
Just type that up, it should pop up. And you can go to our website to look at our stuff. Gente-Fina, Gente-Fina.com.
Okay, cool. Dude, thank you, dude. And any last words, dude, like to inspire others, dude? I know your story in itself is inspiring, but people that are like in whatever industry they're in, and you share your struggles, right? Damn, you were the tarp thing for 7 years until you perfected it, And what advice you have for
It's a tough question. It's a good question. I get asked it a lot, and I always have a hard time kind of pinpointing, what can I tell them like this that's going to help. And the only thing I can say is consistency. But you have to find something that interests you. Find that one thing that if you're into motorcycles, if you're into furniture, if you have a true curiosity about anything in life, take small steps towards that. If you have your career, that's fine. Don't leave your career, just jump into this. And just be consistent with it. Every day, learn some more about it. One of the hardest times of my life was learning how to sew. that was, man, I wanted to quit, and I don't know why I kept coming back. I kept coming back to it, and it's crazy. Like you know, I love sewing now, but that was the key was is consistency.
Yeah.
You know, and building relationships and people like you. A lot of my entrepreneurial friends that I've met through the industry do have that has helped me
Yeah.
get to that next level. So networking, I think, is very, very important. I'm not as good as I wish I was at being outside more, but definitely get outside, get into those circles that's in the industry you're interested in, meet those people. People want to help.
Yeah.
You realize a lot of people feel like things aren't attainable or it's out of your, like, I don't belong in those rooms. You do. I mean, if you're interested in that industry, get your ass in that room and learn from these people, get some connects, and you're gonna realize that people do want to help. You know,
Yeah.
people do want to connect you with this person.
Yeah.
So, just doing that, a lot of networking, a lot of consistency, just finding that one thing that you're interested in.
Yeah, dude, that's gold, dude. Good advice, man.
Thank you, man.
That's really.
I'm trying to figure out how I can.
Yeah, no, it's cool, dude. Like, and this interview is pretty raw, and so you hit the nail on the head, and with that because that is number one. Like everything that you said when I interview, I ask like similar questions, right?
Yeah.
And success always leaves clues. Surround yourself with the people you want to be like, be in close proximity, man. Take that and apply it and be consistent. And you can't suck forever, dude. That's like I should motto that. You can't suck forever. You can't.
Yeah.
You hated sewing in the beginning because you weren't good at it, but once you became good at it, now you do it for free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I read one of the business books I read. It said that if you find something you love and you do it, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And that's so true.
That's very true. Now like I said, now I want to do this full time because I'm so in love with this industry, with the process of making clothes, that I want to do this full time.
Yeah.
And that's the goal. I think after New York Fashion Week, hopefully, I think that's gonna be the after that. But when people talk about, people say, "Oh, so it's just you," and physically it's me in here working, doing everything, but it's not just it's a team outside of the team.
Yeah.
It's the people the network that you built. That person that has hooked me up with this celebrity, the person that hooked me up with this manufacturer, just because they love what you're doing and they want to support and they want to help in any way they can. So the best way they can do it is connecting you.
Yeah, that's cool, dude. So, guys, follow this guy. He's a rising star. Gente Fina. You're gonna see it everywhere. And we're gonna do this again in February or March, man, after you return from the New York Fashion. Manny, thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Man, best of luck, man.
Appreciate
and
you.
great success.
Thank you so much.